my extra credit teach it video, I'm going to be doing 6-2B number 12, and it says, the Naturals company sells its products in many countries. The following two circle graphs show the fractions of the company's earnings for 2012 and 2014. Based on this information, answer the following questions. So, for the letter A, it says, in 2012, how much greater was the fraction of sales for Japan than in Canada? So, we look at, was the fraction of sales for Japan. Japan had 1/5, and Canada had 1/6. So now we have these two fractions, and we need to get a common denominator to see which one is greater. So they both can go into 30. So that will be our common denominator. And then to get to 30, we took 5 times 6, so 6 times 1 is 6. And to get to 30, we took 6 times 5, so 5 times 1 is 5. So in 2012, how much greater was the fraction of sales in Japan than in Canada? And we can see that it is 1/30 greater in Japan than in Canada. For letter B, it says, in 2014, how much less was the fraction of sales for England than for the United States? So we need to look down here to the United States, which was 7/20. And then also for England, which was 1/4. So we come over here, oops, and we have 7/20 to 1/4. We can see that 4 can go into 20, so that will be our common denominator. And to get to 20, we took 4 times 5, so 5 times 1 is 5. And we can see that how much less was the fraction of sales for England than in the United States. We take 7/20 minus 5/20, and we get 2/20 or 1/10. For letter C, it says, how much greater was the fraction of total sales for the United States in 2014 than in 2012? So in 2014, we can see that the United States had 7/20. In 2012, they had 1/3. So we will need to find a common denominator once again, and that's going to be 60. So 20 times 3 is 60, so we take 7 times 3, which is 21. And then this will be 60, and we can see that 3 times 20 is 60, so 20. So the sales were greater in 2014 for the United States by 1/60. Letter D says, is it true that the amount of sales in dollars in Australia was less in 2012 than in 2014? So we look down here for 2012, or look down here at 2014, which was 1/10. And then up here we see that it was 1/20 in 2012. We need a common denominator, so this will stay the same. And this will go to 2/20. And we can see that, yes, it is true that the sales in dollars in Australia was less in 2012 than in 2014, because they only had 1/20 in 2012 and they had 2/20 in 2014.